Hi, welcome to another one of our agility series videos, and this one starting to look at hurdles, how you can use some hurdles. I must state that there's literally hundreds of ways you can do these, so this is not the only way. They're not even the best ones, they're just ones that I maybe probably prefer to use with most people who are new to this type of training. They're quite easy to implement. You obviously can make them a lot harder, but these give you some great ideas of how you can manipulate things to improve the agility that you're looking for. So this first one is quite a simple one. It's just really a double foot takeoff and landing, laterally jumping. All right. So what you're looking for is the landing to be soft knees, really good athletic position when you're landing. So hips are back, chest is up. And really absorb everything through the joints in that nice, perfect sort of squatting action, or sort of a partial squat. You don't want to go deep squat. You go deep squat, you become too slow. All right, so it's sort of it's like a partial squat range. You may just need to adjust your hurdles if you feel like the distance isn't wide enough. Now, this second one, so the first one was just sort of simple, nothing too fast, nothing too high. This next one, we're going to exaggerate the height. So we're going to really aim, the object here is to jump high. Which brings about a much more stressful landing, much more shock and impact. All right, so let's have a look at this. So again, the landing, you want to be exactly like the first go. Now you're just asking for high knees. Now, and this is where you might have to adjust your hurdle width. I think I went a bit too narrow here. This one probably a better one. All right, and it's all about the landing, not so much the jump, but you're asking the person to get as high as they can. All right, so once you've done that one, then you can go to the next one, which is speed. All right, so now you're going to look for not height at all, but how quickly you can do it. And you can sort of see here I can sense that I didn't have them wide enough, and I don't want to clip one when I'm going through it really quickly now. A lot more mistakes when things happen at high speed. I'm really going to be on the ball of my feet here. I won't be on my heels at all. So as soon as I'm hitting the ground, bang, I'm up, and I want to really try and control the landing. So 2 foot jumps, a lot easier to control than one leg. So before I get to one leg things, I really always want to master these 2 leg ones, where if I make mistakes, it's not catastrophic to me. And the impact is nowhere near as great, and you're basically preparing yourself for the more difficult single leg ones, where there's frontal plane problems you must control, and the foot's a big factor. Just because there's pronation to control. Now this next one, what I'm doing here is I'm setting up a maze drill. So there's no real set way you can do this. I'm just random. I probably didn't even think about it too much. When I did it, I realized I probably should have moved them a bit, but it doesn't matter. The randomness is actually good. All right, so now these are all 2 foot jumps, so I'm just going a bit like what we did before, but now I've got like, I could do lateral jumps, I can do forward, and these are a different height hurdle. These orange ones are a bit higher. So I'm doing all forward jumps here, and then I'm going to bring in a lateral jump, which I just practiced a second ago, with another one, and then I'm just moving around, and in a second you'll see me. I'm going to use some lateral crossover running drills. All right, so this is the maze drills are quite a good way to bring in that random different direction, change of direction sort of stuff. So now you can play around with where you hurdle. So I want to move it this time. I want to bring in some crossover moves. So I'm going to incorporate jumping with some running, or like lateral crossing over. So again, always start with the athletic ready position. All right, so you get in that nice spot where you're trying to absorb your landings. All right, and now I'm going to run through my hurdles, set up, and then get again and go another little crossover move with a jump, and then another little crossover move again. All right, so like I said, there's many different ways you can do this. It's not the only way. The crossover moves are quite handy actually. If I just go back to that, you can see it from here, and we've done a video specifically on this before, but that crossover really helps you to gain quite a fair big distance. Now if I really wanted to make it fast, when I get to the other cut here, I could plant this foot out wide. Instead of coming to a stop, I could plant it and then jump straight from it, so that this landing here is where we would see injuries occur. All right, you can sort of see it in slow motion just how important that foot plant and the hip position is, or else everything could go really wrong quite quickly. So, all right, so that's just a couple of examples of how you can use hurdles in your agility training, and in the next part I'll show you my much more advanced ones, which are great as tests, but they really bring into play the single leg, which is much more difficult to control. Right, so we'll see you on that one in a second. Okay, so now we're up to the much more difficult the agility drills, and where we're moving into single legs. So we've looked at lateral bounds and lateral lunges and cutting on the lateral, where most of the time you do have 2 feet on the ground, maybe for a split second only one. Now we're only going to have one. All right, so this really brings in stability in a big way. So I'd like to use a speed ladder for this. This is a great way to observe several things. So first I've got this video showing you side on, and what we're really looking for me to execute here is to stay quite low and keep that really good hip position. I don't want to hunch on it at all, and really using my hands to create a really big stiff landing there. You see, if I lose it, I just want to put my other foot down. I don't want to try and fight with the balance. I want to sort of really, getting the hang of it. On my other leg, I'm way better. My left leg is definitely my weaker leg, and it takes me quite a few to get going on this. So I don't want to come up high. I've got to stay low. All right. So once I've run through the forward, and then I'll show you what it looks like from a front angle. So from side on, we saw how I had to stay low with my hip behind me. Now we want to see what happens when I'm going into this forward position, and we're looking for leg alignment here. All right, so we're making sure that my leg doesn't roll in, that I can maintain that alignment all the way. All right, and really, so I'm a lot better on this side. Probably my foot start to turn out, and that's what happened to me at the end. But it'll set me up for the next part, which I'm about to show you now. All right, so this next part is where I've got the cone placed in 2 of the rungs here, as you can see. So in there and there. And what I'm got to try and do is I've got to, throughout the entire exercise, maintain this alignment with the foot, knee and hip. All right, at no point, and then from side on, like we saw earlier, I've got to stay low with that good hip position there. When I get to this, obviously I can't jump into that rung. I'm going to make a fast cut out wide and then come back and stick the landing there. So I need to be really fast on this part. I don't want to stay on the ground for very long. And then I've got to instantly apply the brakes, slam the brakes on one leg and land back into the other square without losing my alignment or my upper body position. So let's see how I go, because this is my weaker leg of the 2, and I think I'll make a mess of it from memory. And there's a cut, and I had to put my other foot down because I was going to lose it, and that's okay. Let's see if I get better on this one. Fast cut, stick the landing. So I probably didn't stick the landing as good. That's why I used the first few rungs as almost like a test go, or like a trial go, to see if I can get the hang of it. So on my right leg I should be a little bit better. If you lose your balance, just don't worry about it, put your foot down. All right, so really trying to control everything around that knee's the giveaway if it rolls in, and it did a little bit there. All right, so let's see how we go on the cut. I've got to be really quick on this, so it's a real fast bang, bang, stick. And then there's another stick one, so you get a practice go, and then it's a real fast bang, bang, stick. Yeah, just like that. All right, so that's our forward lateral change of direction cutting ability. So where it gets even messier is when we add in the lateral hopping. All right, so the forward hopping is a lot easier. This hopping is much harder. All right, and you sort of give yourself a couple of practice goes. It's a lot harder with a ladder than if I just drew lines on with chalk on the ground. I've got to clear on my mind. I know I have to clear the rungs. All right, so when I get to here, I've got 2 choices. I can go backward and forward, or forward and backward. You're going to have to do both anyway, but it's really hard to do this changed back, so slamming the brakes on and heading back in a diagonal direction backwards. So I've got to be really quick here to bang and then stick my landing. All the time trying to maintain that perfect alignment throughout. All right, so then I obviously need to do the left leg, and this time instead of going backward and forward, I go forward and backward. I'm going to go backward forward. All right, so again, you give yourself a few to practice goes, especially practicing your landing, really keeping everything really nice and stiff, and then when you get to the cutting part, you've had a chance to really execute what you want to do. All right, so really keeping that nice alignment through the leg there. So I'm not too bad. I'm getting better at them now on this left leg. So if, I really want to maintain that perfect alignment there. So on this part here is when you're going to see me do the cut backwards now. So I'm going to go backward and then propel forward, and see it's a lot harder. A lot of mistakes always happen with these drills, and you want to anticipate that, but try to get to a point where you overcome them. All right, and so you're exploding back. So I did a terrible job on that go. Probably fatigue creeping in at the end. But always remember with all these drills, the main point is on the landings, that I'm always maintaining that position there, and then see how I'm bent over. All right, that's the key to all of these succeeding, and avoiding the dreaded injuries that usually are associated with these exact movements. And if in terms of sporting performance, it helps you to really become faster, and if you don't play sports, you acquire some great skills that will see you move so much better throughout life, especially with other things in the gym, because they're nowhere near as complicated as these are. All right, so great exercise for everyone to have a go at. Try and start with the simple things before you head to these much more complex ones. If you play sports, however, you really want to get to these complex ones as soon as possible, because you're doing it anyway. You just may not be doing it very well when you're playing sport. All right, so I hope that video gives you some really good insight on how to get progressing from 2 legs, how to use hurdles, how to use a speed ladder. There's many other things that we'll cover as well with reaction training, which we haven't done that yet. So we'll cover some of those things as well, but give you plenty of ideas on how you can incorporate it into your program. There may only be a couple of the exercises you may need, but they may be the real game changers that help you with what you want. All right, so hope you enjoy that. I'll see you on the next video.